Mayor Gregory, we're ready when you are.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the study session for the Cathedral City City Council to order. Today is Wednesday, March 11th, 2026, and we will start our meeting as we customarily do with roll call.
Councilmember Gordon. Here. Councilmember Ross. Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez.
Here.
Mayor Gregory.
Here. My understanding is Councilmember Ross did properly absentee herself. The reason for her absence is personal illness. I have a motion to excuse her?
I move to excuse Ross.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Lamb and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez.
Is your motion to excuse for both meetings and your second? For both this meeting and the
Yes.
regular meeting?
Yes.
And seconder, is your second for the same?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Just want to clarify.
Okay, noted. Please vote. And motion carries. All ayes.
Thank you so much. All right, the next item is agenda finalization. Are there any changes to the study session agenda?
Yes, Mayor. Staff would like to pull item 3A and reschedule this for a future date.
All right, so 3A is our closed session item, a conference with our labor negotiator.
That's
So
correct.
we will remove that from the agenda then. Thank you. Are there any others? All right, then we shall move on. This is the point in our meeting where we take public comments on items that are not on the agenda. If you have that, hopefully you've turned in a slip to the city clerk, but this would be the time for you to speak. Just a reminder that will have 3 minutes and that we do not allow clapping or jeering or cheering and those types of things during public comments. So thank you. Are there any public comments on non-agenda items?
Mayor, we do have one request to speak. Mr. Robert McCormick.
Mr. McCormick, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Gregory, City Council.
Mr. McCormick, wait till you approach, and then we'll start your time.
Thank you. My name is Robert McCormick. I'm a decorated United States Marine Corps veteran. On Christmas Day, my neighbor poisoned my dog. I took him for a walk after that, and I asked her, how do you know that he's not allergic to antihistamine, as she gave him Benadryl because she said his nose was dripping. We all have runny noses. She called the cops. Officer Sandoval shows up. He tells me, stay away from her. Doesn't ask me why I yelled at her. Doesn't ask me anything. He leaves. His face is swollen 3 times the size that it is normally on the right side, 1 time on the left side more than normal. He tells me he's going to take a picture. He never does. He never does. Fast forward, she put a restraining order on me. This past Friday, the restraining order hearing took place. Well, if the information that she gave wasn't pertinent enough for her to win her case, why did the hearing even go forward? Because the judge did not allow me to speak and explain what exactly happened to my dog. That afternoon, because I didn't have a restraining order on me and I wasn't restricted from being anywhere, I witnessed my dog going to the manager's office via the parking lot because I didn't want him to get hit by a vehicle or whatever. The neighbor came out of her apartment and maced me. The mace was more powerful than what it is that I experienced in the gas chamber in the Marine Corps. It took until the late evening hours for that mace to dissipate. Officer Jones showed up that time. Officer Jones didn't ask me anything. He did not. When is it that somebody is physically injured visibly, and a police officer doesn't immediately take out their cell phone and take pictures of the injuries? He did not. When my pain subsided, I walked over to the police station, demanded that I speak to the highest ranking officer on duty, which was the watch commander. The watch commander refused to allow himself to take the pictures and not allow Jones to take the pictures. So what does that do? That shows that there is absolute corruption, dishonesty, on and on and on, because I don't even know if the time
Mr.
for which
McCormick,
those pictures were taken
Your
was
time
going
has
to be
expired.
backdated.
Your time has expired. Thank you for your comments.
Well, implement the
Mr. McCormick.
the policy of speak up, sound off, and blow the whistle on wrongdoer officers.
Thank you. Clerk, do we have any other public comments?
Do I have any other members that would wish to speak on non-agenda items? And I see
All
no
right.
more, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Then we will move on with our agenda. Our first study session item, 2A, is the CVAG, CV Housing First Regional Homelessness Program. City Manager, would you like to introduce the item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So there are two speakers for this item. Kevin Biersack is going to lead off and provide some context for the discussion, and then we also have speakers from CVAG here this afternoon, including Candace Graff, to provide an update for City Council. Kevin?
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, city staff, and listening audience, interested listening audience. So as usual, please ask any questions, but this is a short introduction for the meat that Candace will provide. So to give you an idea, we do participate and have participated since 2009 with respect to CVAG's regional homeless programs. If you remember way back when, it was Roy's Desert Resource Center, and it has evolved over time. So since 2021, CVAG transitioned to an in-house program that brought about increased responsiveness and capacity here in our valley, particularly as it pertains to assisting law enforcement and public health workers with homelessness services. So by transitioning in, it also gave an opportunity to focus efforts on clients. And so what you will hear today is the emphasis on the clients and the focus on Cathedral City. The CVAG Housing First program has two primary methods: the rapid resolution, which you've heard about and you'll hear a little bit more about today, and the crisis stabilization units. Since the program's inception, Cathedral City has participated as a funding partner along with other Coachella Valley cities. And if you remember, in the budget that you approved this past spring in May, we increased through the latest 3-year agreement our commitment from $100,000 to a base of $125,000 this year, with the potential for CPI increases in the following 2 years. So as it relates to Cathedral City, the CVAG, Candace and Erica Felches will be supporting her from right next to her, behind, and should there be any questions, they will be able to share, but first they would like to go through their slide deck and share with you, as I said before, the specifics of how this relates and benefits to our city and our residents. This is only a presentation for information purposes. So as a result, I will leave it at that and turn it over to Candace. Thank you.
Welcome, Candace.
Hello, City Council members. My name is Candace Graff. I'm the Management Analyst for the CV Housing
All right,
First program.
pause for just a second. Somehow when it switched, ours completely disappeared, but we have been learning how to get it back. So there it is. That was right when you switched between one and the other. It's really- Maybe that's closer. All right, we've got it. Thanks so much for your patience.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so I am the Management Analyst for the CV Housing First program, which I'm going to share with you today. So the CV Housing First program has apartments where we take homeless individuals from the streets, we place them in the apartments, and we provide them with wraparound services. They'll get a case manager who will provide them with intense case management in order to connect them to medical services, substance abuse treatment, mental health services, and also help them with any legal issues that might be pending and provide them to help them get their vital documents. So as Kevin was mentioning, our Housing First program was originally contracted out to the Path of Life. However, in 2020, there were some changes made and the program was brought in-house, and CVAG's been running the program in-house since 2021. So who do we serve? We serve the chronically homeless individuals throughout the Coachella Valley. The definition of chronic homelessness would be 12 months or more, but our clients are typically on the streets a lot longer than 12 months. So we work with the chronically homeless, hardest to house population, the high utilizers of your public resources, the individuals who are pushing shopping carts down the street, posted up at your bus stops, maybe sleeping at the bus stop. You might get a lot of calls from your constituents complaining about these individuals. These are the people that we work. They have substance abuse, maybe mental health, a lot of barriers to housing. So what do we do? So one, we offer these apartments, right, the crisis stabilization units, where these individuals can get off the streets in order to get into housing. The people that we work with typically are not able to go to your typical emergency shelter, or they're not willing to go, or they're not able to go. Maybe not able to go because of their substance use or their mental health or their pet, or not willing to go because of bad experiences or all of their stuff that they have with them. So these are the population that we serve, and we bring in and we provide them with a place where they can maybe have a place to themselves, or they might have only one roommate. We also do rapid resolution. This option is more for somebody who might be here that could resolve their homelessness if we were to just help them out. Maybe they have an RV that's broken down that if fixed up, they'd be able to move it to an RV park, or someone who has someone in another state where they could reunify with family, and if we got them a bus pass or a plane ticket, they might be able to go home in order to resolve their homelessness. So that's our rapid resolution program. We provide outreach services. Our team is out here in the city of Cathedral City regularly. We work very closely with your impact team with Officer Novi. We also bring our mobile access vehicle out. We call it the MAC. The mobile access vehicle is this bus right here, and we'll set up. People can see that we offer outreach services, and we don't just serve the CV200. Anybody who's interested in resources can approach our team, and we're happy to assist them with resources to help them resolve their homelessness. So who do we serve? We serve from Palm Springs all the way to Coachella. We meet with all of the impact teams or code enforcement or the sheriffs, whoever it is in that area that is working with the homeless, who are able to identify the most chronic individuals and high utilizers of services. And we build what we call the CV200 list. So after we meet with these officers, which we meet every year in order to compile the list, we have our list of the CV200. So for the city of Cathedral City, we have 31 people on the list. The numbers actually increased this year. It was 29 last year, so we've added a few more spots. And how are we doing? So starting in 2021, we housed 72 individuals. In 2022, we housed 54 individuals. Every year we reset the list, and in 2023, we housed 58 individuals. In 2024, we housed 50 plus 2, and in 2025, we housed 53 plus 2. So how are we doing here in the city of Cathedral City? In 2021, we housed 11 people. In 2022, we housed 6 people. 2023, we housed 4 people. 2024, we housed 5 people. And in 2025, we housed 10 people. And these are individuals that were on the CV200 list for the city of Cathedral City. Okay, so here are some numbers that I broke down for you, starting in June all the way to December, the first quarter and the second quarter of the fiscal year. So we keep track of our outings in the city, the contacts that we make with the CV200, the contacts that we make with non-CV200, and then we also keep track of the individuals that are on the list that we place into our crisis stabilization units. So you can see in the first 6 months of this fiscal year, we placed 11 people into crisis stabilization units to get them off the street. And we actually have 8 people from the list for Cathedral City that were permanently housed at the end of 6 months in 2025 for the first half of the fiscal year. You might recognize these individuals. These individuals are from the Cathedral City list from 2025. So starting with the picture there on the left, we have Mr. B and Mrs. J. So Mr. B was homeless for 8 years. He became homeless due to the passing of his wife. After her passing, he suffered from depression and stopped paying his bills and had to leave his permanent housing. When we started working with him, he had no access to his Social Security income for 2 years. So we worked with him to get his vital documents, and we got him connected to his income again, as well as his the 2 years of the income that he was unable to access. Ms. J was homeless for 5 years. Her and Mr. B met on the streets. She suffers from substance abuse and has no income and was not eligible for Social Security. The CV200 team first began working with them in 2024 when they placed them into crisis stabilization units. Unfortunately, they timed out of our program. Our program is a 30 to 90-day program, but we didn't want to put them back on the streets. We were able to work with Adult Protective Services to keep them into housing. So they went into a motel through Adult Protective Services, and between our team and Adult Protective Services, we were actually able to keep them off the streets for over a year until they went into permanent housing. So they went into permanent housing in December of 2025, and they moved in right before the holidays. Miss M, she was homeless for 19 years in Cathedral City. She could be seen sleeping in the back of an abandoned home in Cathedral City and often hung out in the back of Circle K. She suffers from severe mental health and substance abuse. The team had to make several attempts to move her into a crisis stabilization unit because she was refusing services, which happens very often with the clients that we serve, but we keep going out and making those connections, and we keep offering them the ability to come into the program. So luckily, she decided to accept the program because she was having an issue with her teeth. So when she came in, her case manager connected her to dental and medical. Unfortunately, she refused mental health services, but we were able to work with her to get her vital documents and to get her placed into her permanent housing in 2025, where she remains, and she is doing very well. So, opportunities ahead. First of all, of course, we come out here to do outreach, and we work with the impact team with Officer Novi here, who's putting together a resource event here in the Cathedral City area with multiple different providers, and we'll be one of them. And we bring the Mobile Access Center out quarterly to try to offer services in the city of Cathedral City, as well as you can see, we're tracking the metrics for the city itself. The program has started tracking individuals who have gone into housing since 2021 and who remains in housing. And we're going to start tracking also the individuals that we work with who we get into substance abuse treatment and into sober living. And that is the end of my presentation.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm looking at the council members that have clicked the request to speak. Christina Gordon.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. I'm curious a little bit about the crisis stabilization housing. You mentioned that's sort of a 90-day. What happens then? Do people sort of cycle through that multiple times? What is that? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, I love that you asked that because most people don't. So that really looks different for everybody. We sometimes have individuals that go in and we'll spend the whole day with them, place them in the unit, talk to them about the rules, sign them up for the program, assign them a case manager, give them, fresh sheets and linens and hygiene, and they don't even stay the night. So we try to go out and find them, ask them why they didn't stay, try to bring them back. Sometimes people don't make it the first time around. We've had other individuals that they'll come in and they'll maybe stay for a few weeks, maybe 30 days. They're not really working the program. They're not meeting with their case manager. They're not getting their vital documents. So we do like a 3 write-up process where if you violate the rules or if you're not, meeting with your case manager, you're not making appointments, we're going to give you a write-up. That way you have chances. So someone might be exited because they're not actually working the program, but when people are ready, they're ready. So we have a lot of people who come in, they successfully work with their case manager, they go and get all their documents, we get them doc ready with the County of Riverside for housing, we try to find other solutions for their homelessness because we don't want to rely on just, housing from the county. And so we try to make goals for them and have them really work the program. The hope is by the end of the 90 days that they have a permanent place to go. If not, we do offer them other programs such as, the CVRM men's program or women's program or shelter services, Martha's Village and Kitchen. So we do try to find other avenues for them.
And so the goal is some sort of permanent housing after completing the program.
Absolutely. And I will tell you that about 50% of the individuals that go into our units and work the program and get doc ready, they get housing.
That was my next question.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. All right, next up is Councilmember Lamb.
Thank you for all the details. Great presentation and great work from everybody on the team. So where does all this conversation take place? Where you were talking about them not responding or not following up on appointments. Where is the appointment?
So the appointment could be they need to go to the DMV in order to get their driver's license.
And you said and that's what you do. You set that up for them to have an appointment time?
Yes. So when they come in, they meet with their case manager. Their case manager will set up a to-do list for them and goals of the program. And so it depends on what the person has. We had people who've come in and they're completely doc ready already. So we just look at what do we need to do now in order to get you housing. Maybe we need to work on income, and maybe we need to refer them over to job training or workforce solutions in order to apply for jobs.
But where is that case manager?
So
where do they have the? Because I understand if they have an appointment with the DMV and they're expected to go there, but where is the meeting that takes place?
So our case manager will come out to the unit to meet with them. The case manager, if needed, will take them to the DMV or will take them to Social Security. Some of our clients can go on their own. Some of them need to be driven or, sent in an Uber. So
Right, I see. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good questions. All right, Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mayor. And my question is this: when you come across homeless individuals that suffer from mental or drug addiction, and they do not want to cooperate or get any assistance, do you ever reach out to their family members if you know their information, if that information has been provided? And if you do so, have you ever mentioned, or do you guys ever mention California Senate Bill 43, which is a conservancy?
So we normally are just establishing a relationship with people on the streets if they haven't gone into crisis stabilization units. So normally it's just that quick interaction where we're trying to get information with them from the streets, and we at that point have probably not made contact or received any kind of family information. But we have had individuals, once they go into our units and they work with the case manager and they provide family details, and we have phone numbers, we are in contact with those family members, and we can say, hey, we have this individual, your brother or sister or whatever in our unit. We're wanting to help them with their homeless situation in order to get them housing, but, we really need help because they're not working the program. Can you help us? And then sometimes they'll make the phone call and they'll be able to assist. And we do work with Care Court. And so we actually petition if people, it's a voluntary process, of course. So we do petition for people to go in Care Court if they qualify. And we have recently worked with CVAT teams or the mobile crisis team on the streets. If we have individuals who are refusing services and have mental health, we work with them to try to have them come out in order to place them on a hold so that they can go in and they can get the mental health treatment that they need.
Okay, just keep that in mind if the family ever asks to just mention that bill. To
Okay.
make sure, hopefully it will help them. My other question is, there's a lot, recently, Palm Springs got a little bit tougher in their homeless situation, and they pretty much told them to move on. So a lot of those homeless are moving or have moved to Cathedral City, and our residents have seen the difference, and including our business owners have seen the increase in homeless, including Cimarron Golf Course. Have you ever been around Cimarron Golf Course and have made contact with some of those individuals to see if they can be of any assistance?
That's funny that you say that. I'm actually a resident of Cathedral City, and I am around that area often. We have 2 outreach case managers, and what we've done is we've separated their responsibilities in the valley to one that has the west side and one has the east side. So the person on the west side, they go regularly around Cathedral City, the entire city. Same with Palm Springs, the entire city of Palm Springs, Rancho Mirage. And then we also work with Officer Novi. So anywhere that he knows where there's people to be homeless or if there's been reports of homelessness, we will respond.
Okay. And my last question is regarding all the individuals that have been assisted with, have been housed from 2002 to 23, all those years. Now, you provide housing, you help them with housing. What happens after a year or 2 years? Do you stay in contact with them to see how they're doing? Or do you assist them long-term, is it short-term, or is it just a particular term that you help them with?
So what we do is we are actually in contact with some individuals from 2021 until, recently. We do try to stay in contact with everybody, as well as we have established community partners that worked with them as well, maybe to get them into housing. And so if we are not in direct contact with that person, maybe because we can't find them or they're not answering their phone, we're able to get an update from our community partners. But we do, say, Mr. J and Mr. B, when they went into housing, it was not a seamless transition. It was a lot of our team going in order to help them to transition into their permanent housing and to work with the property manager there to make sure that they were not violating their lease and that they could stay there and they weren't kicked out right away. So we have establish relationships with these property managers, whether it's a place that has supportive services or not, and they know that they can call us. So we stay in contact with the client as well as the property manager knows if you have any issues with this individual, please give us a call and we will come out and we will work with this individual.
Okay, and I do have one more question. Now, when your case manager goes out there and visits individuals, especially from Cathedral City, they are aware of if they come across any veterans, that we do have Veterans Village that actually, if they're able to house them, they do.
Yes.
So you do offer that just in case you keep that in mind?
Absolutely. Yes, if we come across a veteran, whether he's on the CV200 or not, we're actually in contact with someone from the VA. And so we immediately try to work with them to get them off the streets. Especially right now, the County of Riverside has a, I don't know what to call it, but they basically want, 0 veterans and 0 widows of veterans on the streets. And so their focus is to actually have all those people either into a shelter or housed. So those are individuals that we know, whether they're on the CV200 or not, we can easily help them.
Well, thank you.
All right. So just quickly, as you're introducing the program, you spelled out that your program is really for the chronically homeless, which is defined as 12 months or more. So I'm assuming, though, either directly when you're out and about, or your case managers are, or one of the law enforcement agencies or others, you run across somebody that's, say, homeless for 6 months, 8 months. What do you do with that? Are there other resources you refer them to? I'm sure you don't say, well, just stay homeless for 6 more months and then we'll help you out.
No, we actually have a hotline where anybody can call. And then when we're doing outreach, anybody that we come across, we always try to get more information from them based on their situation. And we do provide them with resources, whether that's an emergency shelter or connecting them to other outreach providers who can assist them.
Okay, so that's not a hard line when you run across somebody that needs help.
No, even if we've come across somebody who needs help and they want to go to treatment, we'll call out, somebody who can help them get into treatment right then and there. And we'll schedule an appointment and we'll follow up.
Okay. And you spoke a little bit about a resource fair coming up, or ones that you have periodically with your MAC vehicle.
Yes.
So how do you put that together? Do you choose a location where you know that there are people that need services and maybe they're attracted there because there's food served at a certain date or time? Or how do you determine, because I'm sure when you're going to put some resources like that out, you're trying to have a place where there are homeless or, people around.
Absolutely.
Potential clients around, and I'm sure you work with the law enforcement to bring others that are maybe nearby, but can you kind of talk about that a little bit, how you choose when and where to do that?
Yes, so we rotate. We normally take the Mobile Access Center out every 2 weeks, and we take it out to a different city each time just to kind of rotate the services. We're normally in contact with someone from the city to let them know that we're going to come out, where would they like us to go, or there are certain cities where we just know, like, this is where the homeless go, right? So we just go to that location, we set up, and we know that there's a lot of homeless individuals in that area.
All right, that sounds good. All right, counsel, anything else?
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
You talked about the rapid resolution, which is where you sort of help people quickly transition. Do you work at all with the senior center here to do that? I know they do like a grant program for some of their folks who end up in a crisis that quickly can get them out of it. But it sounds like there could be a natural collaboration there. I'm curious if you work with them at all.
So we don't, but I am going to reach out to them because I heard they had a resource fair recently that we were not invited to. So I'm actually going to reach out to them to create a connection with them. And sometimes, because our program is for the chronically homeless, agencies that have that kind of funding, if someone is not chronically homeless, then we can direct them to the agencies that can help them in order to resolve their homelessness that way.
Yeah, that would be great. I know they work closely with CVRM.
Yes.
Who comes to their food bank every Monday. So I'm glad you're going to connect.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thanks so much, Candace. Do we have any public comments? Anybody's turned in a slip?
Mayor, I did not receive any request to speak forms.
All right, is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak? All right, seeing none, I'll bring back to council. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
None. Thanks so much, Candace and Erica and everyone. Thank you, of course, to our team that is out there working on this issue every day to try to find resolution. We appreciate you. All right, the next item on our study session agenda, item 2B, is presentation of the annual crime statistics for 2025. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So Commander Enos is eager and ready to go on this item, but I do want to lead off with just a brief prefatory remark, and that is, as we discuss crime statistics, it's easy to focus on the negative. And here, I think it's important also to focus on some of the proactive strategies and actions that our police department is taking to keep the community safe. We are a safe community. This is important data for you to receive. It's important to look at the year-over-year data, but I do want to remind everyone that we are a safe community, and we have many strategies and actions that we are undertaking to keep the community safe.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I know that we're anxious for the presentation, but also to hear anything that you have done or are doing. So.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. I'll be presenting the 2025 crime stats for the Cathedral City Police Department. This will give you an opportunity to kind of see where we stand currently. So as you're aware, each year the police department compiles crime statistics and reports them to the FBI. And currently, our crime analyst unit uses the department's report management system to gather and calculate the crime statistics. So these statistics are based on the National Incident-Based Reporting System, which is commonly referred to as NIBRS, which is the current national standard for reporting crime data to the FBI. And approximately 85% of agencies currently use NIBRS nationwide. And this took over the uniform crime reporting, which basically took the single highest crime in an event, and that's what was categorized, where this takes everything into calculation. So NIBRS lets agencies track all crimes in an incident, not just the most serious. Because of this, not all crime statistics represent a single crime event. Some include multiple charges for one incident. So for example, you might have someone who vandalizes a car, they may drive away and they're under the influence, or something that they commit a battery, and so you have multiple charges, but it's a single event, but it's all captured and recorded.
Good.
And these numbers will reflect that. So in 2025, our NIBRS data for our crimes against person, we had 2 homicides and we had 2 negligent manslaughters. While we had 0 in 2024, all of these cases have been solved. They are in various stages of prosecution. Kidnapping and abduction is 10. I think that when you read or you look at kidnapping and abduction, I think the reader would immediately go to snatching somebody up. That's not necessarily the case with these. False imprisonment is a category of kidnapping and abduction, and all of them are related to domestic violence. We had 12 rapes, 1 sodomy, 2 sexual assaults, 20 fondlings, 117 aggravated assault, and 250 simple assaults. The difference between those 2, aggravated is causing an injury, where an incident caused an injury. A simple assault, if you just push somebody, a simple battery where there was no injury, that's what's categorized between those 2. Intimidation, it was 49. Intimidation encompasses quite a few. I learned quite a bit compiling this, just so you know. Intimidation is criminal threats. It's also resisting an officer with violence. It can also involve some child abuse cases as well, and some stalking cases as well. So there's several different crime categories that are categorized into intimidation. So it's not necessarily just intimidation. There were 2 purse snatching cases, and there were 3 statutory rape cases for 2025. Property crimes, as you can see, there were 28 robberies. There were 2 extortion blackmail cases, 112 burglaries or breaking and entering. That includes both vehicle and buildings. We had no pickpocketing cases, 108 shoplifting cases. Theft from a building was 30. Theft from a motor vehicle was 82. Theft from a motor vehicle also includes the theft of license plates. So it's not just something from inside the vehicle. Theft of motor vehicle parts or accessories was 24. All other larcenies, 115. 135 motor vehicle thefts. Counterfeit and forgery was 18. 51 false pretense and swindling confidence game, which would be someone presenting a lottery ticket as a winner, saying, I can't cash it, I'll give you, or you give me $50, you can take this $200 lottery ticket and you can get money from it, and they find out that it's not good. There was 11 ATM or credit card fraud cases, 6 impersonation cases, 17 identity theft, 11 embezzlement, 11 stolen property, 112 destruction, damage, vandalism of property, and 10 arson cases. We have arson investigators for the police department that was funded through the fire department. So any fire, they go out and they will look into. So we tend to have more cases because we actually send investigators out to look into the cause and origin of a lot of these fires that the fire department goes to. So crimes against society, as you can see, there was 269 narcotic or drug violations, 296 drug equipment violations. There was 2 obscene material cases, 61 weapons violations, but there were no animal cruelty. So there was a rise in the drug and narcotic equipment violations, and Prop 36 began in January and changed that in January 2025, which increased the threshold for some of these cases, which made the numbers climb a little bit higher. So these are the comparisons. As you can see, in 2024, we didn't have any homicides. There were no manslaughter cases. So 2025, we had 2 of each, which obviously made the number raise higher. But again, they were all solved and at various stages of prosecution. The other numbers are very similar. They're not too skewed to where you would look at there's some kind of crime trend going on. And overall, there was a 1% decrease in crimes against person. So this is just a chart that demonstrates the side-by-side comparison. In the 2-year history for property crimes, as you can see, obviously the differences between the two. For example, there was one less robbery case. They're all very similar. The one that is the highest is shoplifting, which also changed with Prop 36, which gave the retailers the opportunity to prosecute. If you went in and took, cumulatively 3 different thefts for $400 or $500, each one of those previously would be categorized as a basic shoplifting petty theft, where they now increase the penalty that it could be categorized as a felony. And we looked at the data, and prior to 2025, there were fewer calls from the retailers about shoplifting. So once the law came into effect, you could see the increase of calls from the retailers about shoplifting. So overall, there was a 12% decrease in property crime cases for the city. Again, the side-by-side comparison. Crimes against society, as mentioned before, there was a significant increase in narcotic violations and narcotic equipment violations. Again, Prop 36 enhanced certain cases. If you had 2 or more drug charges, you could be charged with a felony.
Can you explain drug equipment violations? What is that exactly?
So that would be like paraphernalia used to ingest narcotics. So a needle, a methamphetamine pipe, and so forth.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So there was a 35% increase for crimes against society, obviously being primarily because of the drug violations and the drug equipment violations. So the side-by-side chart. So just for comparison for calls for service, there was 38,294 total calls for service and officer on-view activity in 2024. In 2025, there was 36,646 total calls for service, which even in 2025, there were 1,648 fewer calls for service in 2025.
And is that decrease in calls from the public or officer on view, or did you look at that?
It's a little bit of both. For example, there was about 75 to 100 less alarm activation calls. Okay. So if you look down the chart, there was fewer numbers in certain categories, some higher in other categories, but generally it's kind of a mixed bag.
Okay, thank you.
And also, this number includes the drop calls? When
No.
people call in?
No
and
drop calls.
They just
No.
don't answer? No?
It did not include the drop calls, canceled calls for service, 911 wireless disconnects that we were not dispatched to. Those calls were left off. This does not include fire, by the way, as well. These are just police calls. So our future crime reduction strategies will continue to participate in the East Post-Release Community Supervision and Accountability Team, which is a regional probationary team that's housed here at the department. They serve from Banning all the way to Blythe, monitoring and keeping account for people who are on probation and parole. We'll continue the participation in the Gang Impact Team with the Riverside County DA's office and the Coachella Valley Narcotics Task Force. We currently assign 1 officer to each of those teams, and it's a collaborative effort, which provides a great resource in a time of need for gang and narcotics cases. We've begun to utilize and expand the drone program, which you'll hear about shortly, which provides critical situational awareness before officers arrive on scene. So they're able to deploy to a location, provide some information to responding officers about some things that are going on prior to the officer arriving on scene. We'll expand operations in collaboration with the Coachella Valley Real-Time Intelligence Center, using intelligence-led policing strategies in conjunction with advanced analytical programs to solve more cases and ultimately reduce crime within the city. Continue to expand the use of our traffic bureau to focus on traffic-related matters throughout the city where we get complaints. Use them in high traffic corridors and using intelligence-led policing to improve the traffic safety and reduce DUIs. Continue to participate in community outreach events, town halls, community watch meetings, Coffee with the Cop, which we had today. Touch a Truck, we also participate in the backpack giveaway and Shop with the Cop annually as well.
And the bed race.
And the bed race. Yeah. We're getting better. Yeah. Continue to utilize our community behavioral health assessment team, who is currently assigned from Riverside County to a full-time officer to help aid citizens experiencing a mental health crisis, provides more appropriate support to vulnerable residents, as well as keeping patrol officers on the streets to continue making arrests and responding to calls for service as quickly as possible. And before you get to questions, I'm sure you might have them about our neighboring cities. You might wonder the comparison between our local cities and how we compare. I did the best I could to dive into everybody's data. It's not the greatest. I couldn't find it all. But I could tell you for 2025, in comparison to the police departments, I could not find any data for any of the cities that the sheriff's department contract with. So I have Palm Springs, Indio, and Desert Hot Springs. Palm Springs had 3 homicides, Indio had 6, and Desert Hot Springs had 2. Palm Springs had 29 rape cases, Indio had 24, and we had 17. And I will go back and actually bring up our chart here. Palm Springs had 146 aggravated assault cases, Indio had 173, and Desert Hot Springs had 117. Palm Springs had 50 robbery cases, Indio had 50 robbery cases, and Desert Hot Springs had 29. Palm Springs had 177 burglary or breaking and entering cases. Indio had 74, which I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I could find. And Desert Hot Springs had 78. Palm Springs had 248 shoplifting cases. Indio had 86, and Desert Hot Springs had 8. All other larceny, was Palm Springs had 350. Indio had 197. Desert Hot Springs had 38. For destruction or damage and vandalism, Palm Springs had 392. Indio had 215. And Desert Hot Springs had 135. For crimes against society, I was able to locate the drug ones primarily. Palm Springs had 713 drug narcotic violations. Indio had 308. Desert Hot Springs had 212. Drug equipment violations, Palm Springs had 861. Indio had 269. And Desert Hot Springs had 159. So those are the numbers of the comparison that I could find relative to where we are. Obviously not necessarily comparing apples to apples specifically, but a general sense of how we're doing in comparison with some of the other cities. And with that, I will answer any questions you may have.
All right, yes, we appreciate that. And as you pointed out, I mean, statistics are great, and they are useful, especially if we're being consistent in the way we apply ours to show trends and to hopefully help reveal areas where you may need to devote resources or change strategies. It can get a little more dicey with others because sometimes it depends on how they're doing their enforcement or what they're calling certain things.
Yes, exactly.
But I do appreciate that. Okay. Looking at our requested speakers, I see first up is Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you. Thank you for this. And I think what the city manager said at the outset is this is a safe city. And so I appreciate that, and I appreciate this information, showing it statistically.
Sure.
I think it's concerning knowing that even though the law has changed, we've had a 35% increase in the crimes against society section, particularly in the drug.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I'm curious because, you know, we know that people who get into the system often keep going back into the system, and we want to make sure that we're providing supports in addition to, you know, sort of the law enforcement piece of this. And so are there strategies that you are considering or thinking about, knowing that the law has changed, knowing that we're likely to see these kinds of increases, that perhaps maybe the same people that wouldn't have been charged with as significant of things in the past, what does that look like moving forward, and how do we address it sort of from a policing standpoint, but also from a human standpoint? I'm curious how you're thinking about that, knowing that the law's changed in that way.
Well, even going back several years, and I don't necessarily have specific data that I can say that it really affected, but when the drug laws changed and drug court was taken away, where drugs used to be classified as a felony, there was somewhat of a recourse. While, you know, they were constantly going to drug court and they would send them to a facility or tell them, hey, make sure you do this, there was a recourse. And I think once that went away, there was no recourse. So it was just the constant revolving door of contact, drug violations, and so forth. Obviously, the greatest, you know, at-risk population right now for our city is the unsheltered. And so, you know, I think Officer Nova, he was here, he left. You know, the standpoint from the HLO program is housing, talk about housing first, but every time they make contact with somebody who suffers from a substance abuse, you know, we've taken people directly to a substance treatment center. We'll provide them the right if they're willing to get the help. You know, we try to do what we can to educate people about the dangers of drugs. Obviously, fentanyl for a while was really problematic. And so, you know, again, I don't know the specific data, but again, not every drug crime was tied to specific just substance abuse. Somebody might have been just, you know, captured or caught with it. But, you know, we continue to try to provide people the resources, the CBAT team member, and then the connections that we have with treatment centers, you know, to try to provide people the direction to get help or provide them that, you know, maybe a little nudge to try to help to get them some support is what we try to do. I mean, with everybody we come in contact to. I mean, we come in contact with, you know, hundreds of people a day. And so, you know, obviously we try to do the best we can in whatever the situation may be. I don't know that there's really a magic answer, but, you know, it just continue the compassionate approach to try to nudge people to try to get help.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is concerning because you don't want to overwhelm the system with that specific challenge, knowing that, you know, other areas in the city have, you know, are having decreases. And so I just would sort of wanted to, I'm curious, it's not, you know, not a criticism at all. Really just out of curiosity, how we sort of as a city continue to approach it in a supportive way, and so that you all have the supports you need.
Sure. I think the expectation coming into this, I think the chief and the administrative staff kind of had an expectation that we were going to have a rise in these kind of cases. And I think it kind of looks to, as we move forward in the future and as we analyze the next years moving forward and seeing what those patterns look like, to figure out, is this leveled out and this is kind of the norm, or are we going to keep trending up and now having to address certain, you know, the situation differently?
Got it. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. Thank you for your great news. My question is, the first one is, of course, every year, is it every year that the FBI comes up with the ranking of the safest cities in California, or?
I don't know that the FBI does that. I believe there's probably some other groups that actually take the data that they're able to find publicly, and then they publish their own reports using a variety of standards. You know, maybe not all crimes, and it's like based upon these crimes, we're going to rate the safest cities based upon this criteria.
Oh, okay, so it's not the FBI, it's certain groups.
That's why many cities will say they're the safest city in the valley.
Yes.
Because it's statistics.
That's what I
how
wanted.
they say,
I'd like to hear ours. Now, have you, When you talked about burglaries or robberies or vehicle thefts, now, catalytic converters was a big deal a couple of years ago, or has been. Is it still the same as it was?
We'll get waves occasionally, but it's definitely not like it was a couple years ago. Certain vehicles, for whatever reason, I don't want to name the type of vehicle, I don't want to let people know, but there was a certain type of vehicle, for whatever reason, was a target for catalytic converters. And so we'll still occasionally get those specific vehicles that have catalytic converters stolen, but it's not as prevalent as it was before.
Was it a Tesla? Now, my other question is, you answered quite a few of them. As I was writing them down, I kept on scratching them off, so you did great there. Now, how many drones do we have? I know that drones have been instrumental lately. How many do we have?
There's three that are fixed for the drone first responder. I don't want to take away his presentation.
Okay.
But there's one.
I'll hold that. I'll hold on.
He motioned 4.
Okay.
So I'll let him talk
We'll
about it
hold
more,
on
but
that.
that's, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And if you do hear from any group that we're one of the safest cities, please come and let us know so we
Yeah.
can tell everybody about it.
Will do.
Thank
Will
you.
do.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Lamb.
Great, and thank you for the information. I just wanted to hear a little bit more about, and I know this, that the department has welcomed an assessment team, one person from Riverside University Health System, the technician. So what specifically, what is their role? Are they a conduit to other mental health services? Is that, they're basically
Yes.
the link?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the technician is paired with an officer to primarily respond to calls that are going to involve a potential mental health crisis. So we want them to be the first responder to go to those types of calls for service. That's first and foremost, but they also will follow up with other incidents. So they'll go through a log from the previous night. They'll go monitor families. They'll go check in with the family that maybe had a disturbance and see if they can provide, some help for them. When we started this program originally, one of the things that we had is we definitely have a few people who are frequent callers, quite a bit, that we know that suffer from some mental health. So we would try to get them to go talk to those people as well and try to help get them into a service if possible and try to, try to nudge them towards some services to try to help them out. So they are primarily used as the first responder to mental health crisis calls, but they also provide resources to other, services that they are aware of throughout the county.
Okay, and thank you, because I see it on the police reports. There's usually 2 or 3 incidences where it talks about a mental health breakdown or an assessment or, an incident
Sure.
involving that, and I wondered who is the conduit? This person is now an additional source.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. That was my.
Yes, thank you so much. And a great, oh, you have something else? Go ahead.
One more question that I thought about, didn't write it down. Now, in here, you have that there was 136 vehicle thefts. Now, does that number also include vehicle recoveries?
No, that's just the theft of the motor vehicle. That's just the theft. That's not the
Vehicles that
recovery.
were stolen
That's
from
the vehicle
our
stolen,
city?
yes.
The report is
And-
stolen?
Yes, and, the definition of a vehicle is, it's got a motor and wheels, it's a motor vehicle. So e-bikes, golf carts, they're all categorized into this. So when you think of motor vehicle thefts, most people are thinking of a car specifically, but it encompasses all those.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyways, so as I was saying, now this is a really good presentation, and I do appreciate that I'm getting the feeling and impression that you're not letting statistics guide. The statistics are what they are, but you're not letting them guide the way that you do your day-to-day work. I mean, you look at this crimes against society, the drug crimes. If you wanted to make those numbers look like they were going down, I mean, you could tell officers, don't emphasize those types of crimes, but that's not right.
Yeah.
You should be, you should be investigating them and reporting them as they fall, as you come across them, those type of things. So sometimes when I see these higher numbers, and makes sense because of the Prop 36 and the changes, to me, it helps add credibility to your numbers because they're not, and I don't want to say manipulated, but they're not, tarnished or they're not skewed.
Sure.
They are what they are, and that, you are investigating what you come across, what's called in, those types of things. So,
Right.
So I do appreciate it. And again, what I see here, I hope continues, that we have consistent reporting, because then it makes the information useful. If it's manipulated to try to win an award, which I'm not saying that it is, but that could be, you've seen it before, and in other agencies, that it's not as useful, because really what we need to be is consistent in how we're reporting internally, and then that will help guide us for trends and resources, as we've said before. So,
Yep.
so thank you so much. All right, are there anyone turned in a speaker slip?
Mayor, I did not receive any.
All right, are there any public comments? Anyone in the public? All right, seeing none, any last comments from council? Thank you again so much for this presentation. Thank you, Chief. All right. The next item on our agenda, study session item 2C, is the Drone as First Responder Program Update. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, and this is another excellent presentation from our police department, and we have Commander Diaz here this afternoon to share some early returns and the impacts of our drone as a first responder program.
Thanks so much. Welcome, Commander Diaz.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of City Council. Tonight, I will be providing an update on the Police Department's Drone as First Responder Program, commonly referred to as DFR. This enhances emergency response, situational awareness, and overall public safety throughout the city. A little bit about the background. The Drone as First Responder Program was initiated in 2025 to enhance the department's ability to respond to critical incidents. The program deploys unmanned aerial systems, or drones, to priority calls for service, either prior to or simultaneously with responding patrol units. This allows officers and dispatch personnel to gain immediate aerial awareness of an incident before officers arrive on scene. The program was established using state and regional grant funding, including Supplemental Law Enforcement Services Account funding and Coachella Valley Association of Governments funding. It operates fully in compliance with federal aviation regulations and our police department's adopted unmanned aerial systems policies governing privacy, data retention, and operational development. Every flight is tracked by date, time, the flight path, and the pilot that was flying at the time. And we record all videos following our body-worn camera policy. And the primary objectives of this program are to reduce response times to critical incidents, enhance officer safety, improve real-time situational awareness, and increase operational efficiency. Now, some of the typical drone deployments that we have are, we respond to violent crimes in progress, suspicious persons call, traffic collisions, perimeter containment situations, and search operations. Just earlier, a couple hours ago, it helped locate a potential burglary in progress that we had in the north end of the city. It also responded to critical incidents that we've had over the last couple of weeks that have been tragic in nature. Drones frequently arrive to scenes ahead of patrol units. This live intelligence helps inform tactical decision-making and enhances officer safety. In several instances, aerial assessment has determined that patrol resources were not required, and this allowed the units to remain available for other higher priority calls. The department currently operates 3 strategically placed drones launch sites located on secure rooftops throughout the city. Based on flight times and operational ranges, these drones provide approximately 90% coverage in the city. And when I say 90%, I'm talking about actual buildings, 90% of the buildings within the city. These locations allow our pilots to deploy drones quickly and, in many cases, reach incidents faster than the traditional patrol response.
So in your photo, the yellow circle is pretty much the primary coverage, and then the red, I see like one of the reds goes kind of over the airport, so I would say that would probably telling us no, it can't go there.
Oh, correct. Yeah, no, the red is a 2.5-mile marker for
Okay.
the point of launch.
Oh, so
That
it's
doesn't
a
mean that we're
distance.
flying, we're not flying into the airport. We have certain areas that we cannot fly in, such as that one. And we have air height limitations as well in other parts of the city for the approaches of the aircraft and departures. That 2.5-mile marker just indicates the maximum range that we have flown the drones. The one out of the south end indicated the 2.5-mile marker where the drone was able to reach in a search and rescue operation a few months back.
Thank you.
So to support the program, the department has made significant investment in training. 6 additional staff members recently obtained their FAA Part 107 certification and completed a 40-hour drone pilot training program, bringing the department's total to 9 trained pilots. Our pilot teams include both sworn officers and professional civilian staff. This ensures that operations are conducted safely, professionally, and in full compliance with federal aviation regulations and department policy.
So is that how they actually fly them, sitting at a desk like that?
That's correct. They're all flown via
Standing outside with a
desktop.
joystick or something? It's actually just like that, huh?
Just like that.
All right.
We do have one trunk deployed drone. That one does use a remote control, such as you would see in handheld remote control. So currently, out of the 9 pilots, we have 3 officers, 2 dispatchers, 1 community service officer, 2 sergeants, and myself that are pilots. Since implementation of the TFR program has demonstrated clear operational benefits. Not only do they respond to calls for service, but we also use them on pre-planned operations. In this particular case, this video that you see, the PAC team requested our assistance in surveilling the residence of a fugitive who had eluded their capture in the past. As units approached the residence, the drone and its AI feature was able to locate the person, and they were able to detect them hiding on the roof, laying flat. The units on the ground could not see the person, but the drone was able to spot them. And our drones are now equipped with a loudspeaker, and the pilot can communicate with people on the ground or the roof and give instructions if necessary.
You're ruining their hide and seek game.
That's the plan. In this example, it demonstrates how the drone was used to assist officers during a search operation involving an assault suspect. The aerial perspective allowed officers to track the suspect's location and movement while coordinating a safe approach. This real-time intelligence improves officer safety and decision-making during rapidly evolving incidents. As you can see the video on the right, that's where officers start zeroing in and focusing on capturing the suspect who is still trying to elude us. While the program was developed primarily to support law enforcement operations, it has also proven to be a valuable tool for other city departments. DFR drones have assisted the fire department during fires, traffic collisions, and search and rescue operations. They have also supported the Public Works Department by documenting water and mud flow, storm-related damage, and infrastructure impacts following significant weather events. These capabilities improve both immediate emergency response and long-term planning efforts for the city. In this video, the pilot responds to a fire call. From approximately a half-mile away, the pilot can detect the fire, and these live video feeds are accessible by the fire department personnel, dispatchers, and all of our officers that are currently working on a particular patrol shift. Our pilots can detect whether a reported fire call for service is a real fire, threatening structures and the like, or just a smoking grill, which has happened before.
It's a palm tree.
As you can see in this video, the drone arrives on scene first and confirms palm trees are on fire. The flames have spread to vehicles parked on the property, and the pilot passes this information on to the fire department to help them with their assessment and strategy while responding before even arriving. These videos show the drone's thermal camera capabilities. The structure fire occurred at night. The video on the left shows that the firefighters dousing the fire, and you can see the difference in the pictures between the left and the right. The one on the right shows the structure after they've been working on the fire, and this helps them assess and look for any hot spots within the structure after they've been working the fire for a while. So they have access to these videos via the live feed that they can see.
So is it the lighter color hotter, or is it?
Correct. So in this particular mode, it has several different modes for the thermal camera. This one is called the white hot. So anything that's a light color is hotter than the rest.
See.
This video was captured using the trunk deployed drone and provided real-time intelligence during the mudslide on Varner Road between Dade Palm and Mountain View Road a few months back. Multiple vehicles were stranded and some were stuck. During this event, weather data indicated additional storm cells were approaching, raising concerns that another mudslide could occur and injure the people that were waiting in their cars at the time. A decision was made to evacuate individuals and have them temporarily abandon their vehicles while being escorted to safety by the fire department. Future objectives for the program include additional pilot staffing. We would like to double the number of pilots so that we can have flight coverage 24/7 for the city. We will also be evaluating additional launch sites to improve coverage and shorten our response time, using data-driven evaluation of response metrics and safety outcomes. Currently, we are participating in the Real-Time Intelligence Center with the Palm Springs Police Department. This regional partnership has been beneficial to both agencies. Currently, they can fly our drones to priority calls for service in our city when we don't have a pilot that's physically working on that particular shift. And this provides real-time intelligence to our officers. In summary, the drone as a first responder program provides several key benefits to the city. Faster situational awareness for critical incidents, improved officer safety through aerial intelligence, more efficient use of patrol resources, enhanced public safety at community events held in our downtown area, expanded support for fire emergency response, storm damage and infrastructure assessment capabilities. And the program expenditures have been reimbursed through SLESA and CVAG funding with minimal impact on our general funds. The program supports the city's 5-year strategic plan, specifically Goal E, enhancing public safety through advanced technology. This presentation is a program overview and update. However, I just wanted to make a comment about that. We are really at kind of at an exciting point in the evolution of public safety, and with your support, our department is using modern technology to enhance crime prevention, improve situational awareness, and better protect our community. In many ways, this program, or this moment in time, is similar to when officers first received handheld radios and no longer had to rely on call boxes walking their beats. That innovation transformed how officers communicated and responded to emergencies. And today, programs like the Drone as a First Responder represent the next step in the evolution of public safety, providing real-time information that allows officers to respond more safely and effectively. And so this technology allows us to see more, effectively know more, and ultimately protect our community more effectively. And that concludes the Drone as a First Responder update, and I'll be happy to answer any questions from the council.
All right, thank you so much, Commander Diaz, for that great presentation. First up to speak is Christina Gordon.
Thank you. This was really interesting. I'm curious a couple of things. I'm not sure how to ask this question, but how do you sort of evaluate the line between sort of the first response or using the drone for response and prevention versus surveillance in a way that would be sort of intrusive to residents and their privacy? And I don't have a sort of specific example in mind. I'm just sort of thinking in general about the ways in which technology can cross a line. And I'm not suggesting that that's what's happening here at all. I think I'm just curious, as you're learning the new technology and becoming experts at it, is there a way that you're sort of considering it and thinking about it that way?
Certainly. So we do have a very robust policy on the usage of the drones. Right now, we fly them to calls for service, priority calls for service. And so we fly them directly to a report of something going on. They are not used for just random surveillance of a particular neighborhood. Periodically, we will fly them to the CV link and monitor that particular path, just because it's so remote. And it's a lot, sometimes harder for people to communicate if they have a need for help. If they crash on their bike or have another emergency that they can't communicate out and ask for help, we will send the drones in that area periodically patrolling, if you will. But we don't just patrol a particular neighborhood and fly around looking for crime. We fly to specific events that are occurring that our officers or that our dispatchers are receiving the call about.
Great, thank you. And one other question is, I was sort of struck by the gentleman hiding on the roof video that you showed. Have you, because drones are kind of noisy, have you had an experience where you've sent a drone to something in progress where it's interrupted it, or the perpetrator has been sort of made aware that they were being caught and disrupted whatever action you were going to take? Or is there any, I don't know, I'm not asking the question well, but like, what is the risk of screwing up your investigation with the drone?
Sure.
Is there a risk?
So there is a possibility of the drone being heard if we're low enough and if the weather conditions are right enough. Particularly on windy days, the person on the ground is going to hear the wind more than the propellers from the drone. We typically don't drop the drone past a certain altitude and avoid that. Because of the great zoom capabilities of this camera, we don't have to drop very low. We can remain high and still reach out and see what we need to see and relay that to our officers. However, we now have the capability to drop it lower and communicate if we needed to, but that would be something that we would strategically set up when the time was right to communicate with the person. So we can be seen and heard if we want to be or not.
Got it. Thank you. This is fascinating.
Sure.
Yes, very interesting. Next up is Councilmember Lamb.
And I don't have a question. I just want to thank you for your presentation. And I represent the Public Safety Committee meeting for Cathedral City, and I heard you gave this wonderful presentation at my very first attendance at that meeting. And our next one, meeting for Public Safety, is May 11th, and it's at the Command Center in Palm Springs. So we get to see, all of us who are part of that committee get to see the real-time actualization of this program. And I think that's very exciting and it's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I'm very excited to hear all the great news about the drones and the new technology. I just have a couple of questions, and of course, I want to do whatever I can to improve that. Now, I want to make sure that I heard it, and it was music to my ears when Chief Sanchez mentioned that this was going to be used during the fireworks season. And I hope you're able to get not all three, but all four around that time, so we can possibly stop or minimize all the illegal firework. Well, they're all illegal here in Cathedral City. Yeah, so that's one thing. So keep that in mind.
Sure.
If we can have all four pilots going on at once. Now, I did notice that in the coverage, it does not expand all the way to dream homes, yet you do have coverage for dream homes. How do you do that?
So it does cover. Let me back up to that slide. So the center photograph shows only the 1.5 mile marker, but if you look at the one on the right, it does overlap, so they do go that far. Furthermore, we typically don't try to get that close to the airport. What I mean by that is directly flying over the houses in dream homes, because sometimes that's a flight path for smaller planes. They can come from the north to the south along just east of Gene Autry, make a quick banking turn to the right and come in for a landing. And so we obviously try to stay away as far as we can from actual large aircraft. However, with the Zoom capabilities, we can be over the golf course, the Cimarron Golf Course, and see well into various areas of dream homes. Or we can just drop to a lower altitude and directly fly into dream homes where we need to and see what we need to see. So it is covered.
And like you mentioned earlier, this has already paid off there's at least one incident in which it was very instrumental in helping you in a certain call. Is that correct?
Well, there's been several. I don't have the specific numbers of how many arrests it has helped with, but just a couple hours ago was just the most recent one. So it's almost on a daily basis now where
great.
we're getting wins from the deployment.
Now, the Palm Springs Police Department also has their own drone program, and there was a presentation that it was completed here in our building here. Now, are we collaborating with them? Because we're going to do the entire Coachella Valley regional drone program, or is this just our own?
Well, this is our program. However, we are working with them with the regional real-time information center or intelligence center. And so each department has their own program. Indio PD is standing theirs up. Desert Hot Springs is also standing theirs up. They've been invited to participate with Palm Springs PD in the real-time intelligence center. And this is only one tool of many that intelligence center has at its disposal to be able to provide real-time intelligence to all the agencies that participate in it.
Now, what is the flight time for each drone?
Again, depending on weather, such as the windier it is or the hotter it is, it reduces the flight time. Under ideal circumstances, we can get a flight time up to about 40 minutes, 45 minutes if it's really stationary and not moving a whole lot. Typically, with our wind and flying out to the locations, we're looking at up to about 25 minutes.
And you have backup batteries in case something's happening, bring them back and fly them right back.
So these batteries or these drones, when they land in their docking station, the recharging automatically begins. It's almost like a smartphone. When you put it on top of that charging station, it starts to recharge. They do the same. We could go from about 25% battery capacity to 90 in about 15 minutes. So it's very, very fast. However, we have strategies to, when we're working a critical incident, if you see in these photographs, you see the overlapping bands. Well, that shows that one drone could be on an incident, it's getting low on its battery capacity. Before we send it back to the dock to recharge, we'll fly the next one that can reach it. It gets on station, it starts observing and transmitting, and then the one that needs to recharge can go home to recharge. And so we've had a couple of incidents, one that I flew myself, where we were doing that flip-flopping drones for about an hour and a half. So that works.
Oh, good. Now, drone, you mentioned about drones being flown at all times. Now, is this including nighttime?
Yes.
Okay. And do we have pilots also on shift for nighttime then?
So right now we have the two dispatchers. One works daytime, one works at night, and she can fly at night. We also have our dispatch supervisor who works into the evening hours. He can fly as well. So again, going into the future, we want to double our capacity of pilots so that we can have staffing 24/7.
Now, when it comes to surveillance a little bit, you can say, can they be used, for instance, there's a particular area in Cathedral City right where the basketball courts are here on C Street, I believe, that there's a lot of drug activity and sales that go on. Could this be used for that, or?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if we have an operation or we plan on taking enforcement action, it would be no different than doing a patrol check with a vehicle. We just fly the drone there to look for the activity. So.
And my last question is, what's the cost of each drone?
So each docking station, at last check, was including the dock, installation, and the software goes for about $33,000 per year, or $33,000 for the initial, and I believe it's $700 a year for the software.
Per drone?
Per drone.
Okay, wow, that's quite a bit. And now, what's the certification for each pilot, and what's the cost?
So I believe the FAA Part 107 certification that they need to pass costs about $175 to take the test. The test is rather difficult. It's been challenging. And it basically, it's the entry-level exam for anybody that wants to become a real pilot. We learn everything from learning how to read weather information, data that's put out by the airports in our area, how to read the runways, things that we typically aren't going to do with a drone. However, we have to pass it because those are the rules of the FAA. And so, like I said, we have recently 6 new pilots that passed that exam, and they took the 40-hour training program with Palm Springs PD. They've had their program for several years now. It's pretty robust. They have a multitude of drones, I think in excess of maybe 30 drones. Not necessarily the docking station drones. I believe they have 5 of those, but rather the trunk deployed drones. And so they were able to put on the training for us.
No. Well, thank you for your presentation. Absolutely great news. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to touch quickly, and I know a couple questions have come up about surveillance, and of course you spoke about that. But you also mentioned at the beginning that, of course, as they're going, they video. And I assume they video all the time when they're flying, or do you turn that on and off?
No, we turn that on and off. When they're flying to a location, the camera is typically just pointed at the horizon.
All right. So if it does video something, though, does that always get recorded?
When it does video, yes, it does get recorded and it gets downloaded, and we follow the same policy as our body-worn camera as
Right.
far as retention and what kind of calls they
So it's logged. So somebody couldn't be on their own, one of your pilots couldn't on their own be using it on the side for something, some personal matter or something like that, and taking video and then just downloading that video and erasing it?
Right, so every flight is captured, and like I said, by date, time, and who the pilot was. And the supervisor, the sergeant, and myself, we have the oversight of that system. So we see who's flying and what they're flying for. We put in the information about the case number of what call we responded to. So if there was a flight with no information, we'd look into, okay, who flew, and we'd ask them.
So as a matter of course, you from time to time kind of spot audit some of these to
Yes.
make sure that they're not just getting flown outside of
Correct.
policy.
That's correct.
All right, very good. And you have the picture there. I'm glad you have it still up. So that's kind of the docking station
Yes.
configuration that you have on some of our buildings.
Yes.
And so I thought to me, it's interesting that, they're sitting basically at a desk somewhere and they've got the screens and then they're flying it. So then it comes back and it automatically sets itself in there, and it must be pretty reliable that it gets where it needs to get to.
Absolutely, and that docking station has a HVAC system, so it regulates its internal temperature to ensure that the drone is maintained at a certain temperature to recharge the batteries. And so we just went through an unusually warmer winter, but they've been rated to withstand very low temperatures in areas where they have snow buildup and extreme temperatures such as the Arizona Phoenix area.
Right, and then you have either a service or somebody that regularly maintains, goes up and cleans them or whatever you need.
We do the monthly maintenance on them ourselves.
That sounds very good. So potentially, if you did start running, and I'm not saying we would need to do this because they are somewhat expensive, but potentially if you had it, especially one of the areas that you found you were using it so much, especially with more pilots, that you had too much downtime, you could potentially put a second unit on the same building. And then, that way you would have a backup or,
We could look at that. We also have looked at other areas in the city to shorten the response time. So for example, right now, we can't get to the area of Bob Hope and Varner. If we were to have an operation over there, we'd have to take the trunk deployed drone out there. However, we're looking at the possibility of putting something up on our eastern border on Duval. If we were to mount one there, we may have the capacity to reach that area. And/or if we have any more expansion of the city up, I know there was projects being considered for the area north of the freeway between Bob Hope and Day Palm. If that's the case, then going forward, it might be a good idea to put something up there as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for updating on what you've done and for continuing, as was said, to use technology to advance and enhance all of the work that your department is doing. So do we have any speaker slips for this item?
I have none, Mayor.
All right. Any members of the public wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, any last comments from council? All right. Thank you so much, sir. All right, moving on with our agenda. We do not have the closed session. It was taken off the agenda, so that is the last item. I will go ahead and adjourn the study session, and we will see you back for our regular meeting at 5:30.